Hello, I'm David Harper. I used all my savings to buy a rundown house for $900, and for that my family kicked me out as if I were nothing. But the real pain wasn't losing them. It was realizing they were never truly mine to lose. The lies, the silence, and the way they quietly erased me from their lives. All of it led me here. Now they're the ones knocking, begging, for the keys to the house they once mocked. This is everything they wanted to bury. Before diving into the story, comment where you're watching from, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss the latest video. The tires crunched on wet gravel as I drove down the narrow path to the house on the outskirts of Cedar Grove, Oregon. It looked just like the photos, maybe worse. The exterior walls were peeling, the windows boarded with rotting wood, the tile roof sagging like it had given up long ago, but it was mine. $900, everything I had. And I'd bet it all on this. I parked, sat still for a moment, watching rain streak long lines across the windshield. I didn't feel victorious. I felt exiled. I stepped out, pulling a folding chair from the trunk. The chair I'd always used when I needed to think or write during a break. Today it felt heavier, as if carrying the weight of my heart. I set it on the gravel, opened it, and sat. Mud clung to my shoe soles, as if trying to hold me back. But I didn't budge. I'd come too far to turn around. Just a week ago I was sitting at my parents' dining table, in their stately home in central Cedar Grove. The roast was dry, the wine overly sweet, and the expectations heavy as stone. My mother, Eleanor, talked endlessly about my sister Chloe's yoga retreat. $15,000, she said, as if it were pocket change. It'll help Chloe heal. She needs this after everything she's done for the family. Chloe, 32, with her perfect smile and glossy blonde hair, sat there, sipping her wine, acting humble like a saint. Then my father, George, turned to me. David, you said last week you'd send the money. Why the delay? I looked up from my plate, trying to keep my voice steady. I didn't send the money, I said. I bought something. The clatter of cutlery stopped. Chloe froze, her wine glass hovering. Mother blinked, slowly, calculating. What do you mean, bought something? She asked, her voice sharp. I bought a house, I replied. A fixer-upper, but it's mine. Silence. Then my father's voice, cold, with a hint of anger beneath. You spent your savings on yourself? Chloe let out a small laugh, just enough to cut into me. You bought a dump instead of helping me heal? Classic David. I tried to stay calm. I never agreed to fund you, Chloe. I just didn't say no out loud. Mother set her wine glass down, the glass clinking sharply. You've clearly chosen poverty, David. Don't expect us to support your delusions. I started to speak, but father raised his hand. You want to be on your own? Then be completely on your own. I didn't argue. I stood, walked out of the house. The door closed behind me, and I knew I'd been erased from their family. The next morning, my name was gone from the family group chat. Invitations to Easter, messages about dinner plans, all vanished. Only one message remained, from Mother. Don't come to Easter. No explanation, no love, just erasure, gentle but brutal, as if I were a file they no longer needed. Now I sit here, before my $900 house. Rain still falls, soaking through my thin jacket. I, David Harper, 45, once a civil engineer, have only this house. It's ugly, empty, but it's mine. It doesn't demand I beg to be loved. My whole life, I tried to fit into my family, to be the son they wanted, patient, sacrificial, silent. But they didn't need me, just my service. When I stopped serving, they stopped pretending to love. I pull out my phone, the screen still showing Mother's message. My finger hovers over delete, but I stop. No, I'll keep it. As a reminder, I slip the phone into my pocket, letting the rain seep through the fabric. The wind blows hard, tugging at my jacket, but I don't move. I look at the house, imagining new walls, windows bright with sunlight. It's freedom, a future I never dared dream. I stand, walk to the front door. The door creaks as I push it open, darkness swallowing me inside. But I'm not afraid. I whisper, this is my house, and I'll make it work. The house looms before me, silent as a challenge. Inside, the smell of mold and wet wood clings to the air, as if the house carries its own scars. I stand in the empty room, my muddy shoes leaving tracks on the rotting floor. I don't know where to start, but I know I can't go back. Not after what happened. I pull an old curtain, a faded green cloth from my rental days, and climb a rusty ladder to hang it. The curtain rod slips, crashing to the floor, taking a chunk of wall with it. Of course, I mutter, rubbing my arm where it hit the wall. I sit on the cracked linoleum floor, leaning against the peeling wall, staring at the bare window. And then like a cold gust, memories flood back. I'm 16, my birthday. Mother calls everyone to the living room, holding a pink frosted cake with mismatched candles. Chloe, then 12, help decorate. It feels warm, until I see the writing. Happy birthday, David, not David. I'd corrected my name so many times, to teachers, friends, but my family still didn't get it. Or maybe they didn't care. I smiled, blew out the candles, but inside, a small cut formed. That same year, Chloe got a used car for her 16th birthday. Father stood in the yard, beaming as if she'd graduated college. You deserve it, sweetheart, he said. All your hard work. Chloe was an average student, but it didn't matter. Me? I got a misspelled cake, and a next year when I asked about driving lessons. That was the start, though. Maybe it began earlier, and I was too young to notice. I remember Christmas photos where I always stood off to the side, like I'd wandered into the frame. Birthday cards signed. Love to our kids, but only Chloe's name underlined. I remember a family beach trip when I was left behind because the car was full. I was 28 then. At some point, you stop thinking it's an oversight. You realize it's a choice. I stand, brushing dust off my jeans, my hands trembling slightly. Not from cold, but from memory. They never yelled at me. Not once. But they erased me. Slowly, gently, like wiping away an unneeded line. You're too serious, Mother said, when I asked why no one clapped at my award ceremony. Let it go. But when Chloe was voted best hair at school, they framed the certificate and hung it by the front door. I won a statewide writing contest that same year. Father told me not to brag. I thought if I tried harder, they'd see me. I brought home A's, earned scholarships, even helped Mother redesign her charity's website in college. They never looked. I was still the shadow, dim beside Chloe's light. Today I start fixing the house. I pry off rotting boards, rusty nails squeaking as I pull. Each piece that falls is a bit of the past I leave behind. I meet Mrs. Grace Sullivan, an elderly neighbor, a few houses down. She knocks, carrying a plate of cookies, her kind eyes peering through round glasses. You're the new owner? She asks. This house belonged to an artist once. It has a story. She talks about Cedar Grove's smaller days, encouraging me. You'll make it a home. I believe in you. Her words stop me cold. I've never heard anyone say they believe in me. Not from family. I thank her, but my heart stays heavy. After she leaves, I find an old photo in a pile of junk in the corner. It's me, 10, in a school play, wearing a paper cape and a glittery crown. In the background, Aunt Ruth claps, her smile radiant. She was the only one there that day. My parents were busy taking Chloe to a junior pageant. I hold the photo, my fingers tracing my young face. Aunt Ruth left the family after being dismissed. Like me now. The photo is a reminder. I was never as alone as I thought. I tuck it in my pocket, determined not to let the past define me. I grab a hammer from the toolbox. This house, with all its cracks and mold, is my chance. Not to prove to them, but to prove to myself. I drive a new nail into the wall. The hammers thud like a declaration. I'm still here, and I haven't fallen. I stand in the empty kitchen of my $900 house, hammer in hand, staring at the cracked walls as if they're telling my own story. Weak light filters through a broken window, pooling on the yellowed linoleum floor. The smell of mold still lingers, but I'm used to it. I have nowhere else to go but this house. My family erased me from their lives, but I'm still here, trying to build something, not just a house, but myself. Each day, I start with small tasks. I pull rusty nails, replace rotted floorboards, scrub stained walls. Today I try hanging another curtain. Still that faded green cloth from my rental days, but the window frame is too old, the wood crumbling when I drill. I sigh, pick up the debris, telling myself to be patient. This house, like me, needs time to heal. I meet Tom Reynolds, an electrician a few houses down, when he knocks with a toolbox. Heard you moved in, he says, smiling warmly. The wiring, here's probably shot. Let me take a look. Tom checks the lines, shows me how to rewire a few burnt outlets. He talks about Cedar Grove, weekend fishing trips, how this town always finds a way to help each other. You'll be fine, he says before leaving. This house has potential. His words, simple as they are, make me pause. It's been a long time since anyone said I'd be fine, but not everyone thinks so. Some neighbors pass by, eyeing the house, whispering, that dump? I hear one say, as I take out the trash, living like that at his age. I was a civil engineer, but to them, I'm just the weird guy in the crumbling house. I try not to care, but each glance, each murmur, echoes Mother's voice. You've chosen poverty. My phone buzzes while I'm scrubbing the floor. A message from Mother, Eleanor. Don't come to Easter. No love, no explanation, just erasure, the way they've always done it. I stare at the screen, my finger hovering over delete, but I stop. I slip the phone into my jacket pocket, my chest heavy as if pressed by the gray sky outside. Rain falls, not a storm, just a steady pressure that feels like everything's about to end. I sit on the floor, back against the cold wall. This house, with all its ugliness and emptiness, is a symbol of what I wasn't allowed to want: freedom. A life not built on someone else's back. My family had an unspoken rule. If you stop serving, they stop loving. I did everything they wanted, brought home money, stayed quiet, sacrificed, but when I chose myself, they turned away. I think of Mrs. Grace Sullivan's words, the elderly neighbor, when she brought a potted plant yesterday. You're building a home, David, she said, her kind eyes peering through round glasses. Not just a house, but a life. She told me about the people who lived here before, how they turned this place into a haven despite its ruin. You have that strength, she said. I thanked her, but inside, I doubted. Strength? I'm just trying not to fall apart. I stand, brushing dust off my jeans. Wind blows through the broken window, chilling. But I don't fix it yet. I grab the hammer, drive a new nail into the wall. The sound steady as a heartbeat. Each strike is a reminder. I haven't fallen. I don't know what I'll do next, but I know one thing. I won't go back to apologize, to beg. This house is mine, and I'll make it stand. I step out into the yard, looking at the weed-filled garden. The rain has stopped, leaving shimmering puddles under the weak sunlight. I see Mrs. Grace's figure in the distance, watering her plants, and Tom waving from his yard. Cedar Grove, with all its curiosity and skepticism, still has people ready to help me. I'm not as alone as I thought. I turn back to look at the house, imagining new walls, windows bright with sunlight. It's not just a shelter. It's a declaration that I deserve a life of my own. I pick up a piece of wood, start measuring for a new door frame. The sound of the saw cuts through the silence. I don't know where I'll go from here, but I know Zebit. I won't stop. I wake to the smell of coffee, mixed with something more unsettling. Laughter, not the warm kind, but the kind that feels like a slap in the face. I pull a sweater over my head, step out of the corner I call a bedroom. The wooden floor creaks underfoot, as if warning me, and maybe it should. When I turn into the kitchen, I freeze. A blinding white ring light stands by the window, illuminating my stained counter. My old water jug is pushed aside, replaced by a row of oat milk cans, granola bars, and a strange scented candle. In the middle of it all, my sister Chloe stands, makeup flawless, smile radiant like she's hosting a TV show. She holds her phone, recording a video, her voice sweet as honey. Hello, my angels. Today we're doing something truly meaningful. I want to show you where my brother, poor thing, is living. A house that needs fixing, but we love transformation, don't we? She pans the camera to the cracked tiles, the wobbly wooden chair, the yellowed linoleum floor. I stand motionless in the doorway, watching her turn my life into a pity play. This fridge probably broke during Y2K. She jokes, nudging it lightly. And don't talk about the smell. Honestly, it's like it carries the whole family's pain. Her phone buzzes constantly, comments flooding in like rain. I catch one. OMG. Is this a halfway house or what? Chloe laughs loudly. No, guys. This is my brother's house. No. It's really sad. I step forward, trying to stay calm. Chloe doesn't see me at first. Another comment pops up. Is that really her brother? Looks like a drifter. Chloe tilts the camera toward me. No hesitation. Yep, she says, voice smooth. That's him. Check out those slippers. Recession chic, right? Something in me breaks. I walk over, calm as stone, then yank the phone off its stand. The suction cup pops loudly, drowning out Chloe's yelp. What are you doing? She hisses. I look straight into her perfectly made-up face. Want content? Here's content. Get out of my house before I tell the story they actually need to hear. Chloe tries to grab the phone, but I hold it firm. You don't get to turn my life into a joke for likes, Chloe. Not anymore. Her face shifts, slipping into victim mode in an instant. Eyes wide, lips trembling, Oscar-worthy. I was just trying to help, she says, voice cracking. I thought people could donate or something. For you. You mocked me in my own house, I say, handing the phone back like it's a dead thing. You can go now. Chloe takes a theatrical breath, gathering her makeup bag and purse, not forgetting to speak loudly for her invisible audience. This is what I get for trying to be a good sister. The door slams behind her. The ring light hums softly in the silence. I lean against the wall, hands shaking, not from fear, but from anger, and a sliver of freedom. That night, I sit in my old chair, holding a cracked coffee mug, the phone screen glowing like a heartbeat. Notifications flood in, my name tagged everywhere. I haven't posted anything, haven't said anything, but they're talking about me. I open Instagram, bracing for another clip from Chloe's healing journey. But what I see is worse. A screenshot chills me. A GoFundMe campaign. Help my brother rebuild. With a photo of me hauling trash. Hair messy. Sweat soaked. Another of me curled up in the chair, wrapped in an old blanket. The description reads like an obituary. My brother has been through so much hardship. Help me give him the life he deserves. It's raised $18,340. Recipient Chloe's PayPal. Blood rushes to my ears. She turned me into a charity case and pocketed the money. I stand, pacing the room, gripping the phone. I check the comments. People praise her. You're such an amazing sister. Sent $50. Hope he's okay. I set the mug down so hard it cracks. Chloe never mentioned this. Not once. Even as she left this morning. Fake tearing up. I try reporting the campaign, but the platform responds. No violation of community guidelines. Of course. Chloe knows how to game the system. How to say just enough for others to fill in the blanks. I open our last messages. Nothing. Then a new notification pops up from Maggie Coleman, a local paralegal. Saw the GoFundMe. You didn't authorize that, right? This could be civil exploitation, maybe fraud. Want to talk? I stare at the message, my heart not racing, just steadier. Someone saw the truth. I reply with one word. Yes. I sit in the kitchen, light from a flashlight, spilling over the papers in front of me. Screenshots from Chloe's GoFundMe are scattered across the counter, like evidence of an invisible crime. I used to think I could endure anything from my family, but this time, they've gone too far. My $900 house, with its yellowed linoleum and cracked walls, isn't just a shelter. It's a declaration that I'm no longer their shadow. After Maggie Coleman's message, I meet her at a small coffee shop in central Cedar Grove. Maggie, a paralegal with her hair tied high and sharp eyes, spreads out a stack of documents. This is civil exploitation, she says, pointing at the GoFundMe screenshots. Chloe used your image and story without permission, then pocketed the money. If we can prove intent to deceive, we can sue. I tell her everything. The fateful dinner, how Chloe mocked me in her live stream, how my family erased me from their lives. Maggie listens, takes notes, then looks at me. You're not a victim, David. You're a survivor. Let the paperwork speak for you. I start gathering evidence per Maggie's guidance, saving Chloe's live stream, screenshotting comments, documenting the $18,340 funneled to her PayPal. Each time I rewatch the video, I hear Chloe's voice, my brother's house, so sad. Anger flares, but I hold it back. This isn't the time for emotion to lead. Maggie's right. The paperwork will speak for me. One evening my phone buzzes, a voicemail from Chloe, her voice sugary. David, I know things got a bit tense, but you get it, right? My yoga studio's struggling. I'm so stressed. You've always been the strong one, the forgiving one. I just wanted to help you. I listen, gripping the phone. Her words are too familiar, like mother's. You're the strong one, David. Let it go. But my forgiveness only let them use me more. I don't respond. Just save the voicemail. Maggie will need it. Chloe doesn't stop. She texts, asking to stay at my house because the studio flooded. Just a night or two, she writes. I'll sleep anywhere. Even there. As if my house is a campsite. I remember her live stream voice, recession chic. I reply briefly. You called my house a dump. Don't come back. I send the message, feeling like I've cut a rope. Amid the tense days, I find some solace in Cedar Grove. One morning, I join a community cleanup day, painting the fence in front of my house with Mrs. Grace Sullivan and Tom Reynolds. Tom brings a can of white paint, laughing when I spill some on my shoes. You look more like a painter than an engineer now, he teases. Mrs. Grace stands there, sharing stories of Cedar Grove's smaller days, when people helped each other without asking. You're part of this place, David, she says, resting a hand on my shoulder. Her words, simple but sincere, warm my chest. I'm no longer the stranger in the crumbling house. I'm starting to belong here. I keep fixing the house, Small steps. I replace a broken window. Sunlight flooding the kitchen for the first time. I plant a few flowers in the yard, though the soil's still choked with weeds. Each hammer swing, each nail, is a reminder. I'm building a life, not just a house, but I don't forget Chloe. Maggie calls, confirming the cease and desist letter is ready. It'll be delivered at Chloe's big live stream event at the Cedar Grove Town Hall, where she plans to promote her yoga studio. She won't see it coming, Maggie says, voice firm. Just stay calm, David. I think of Aunt Ruth, who left the family after being dismissed. After the live stream, I called her, her voice tired but warm over the phone. I saw you got kicked out of the family chat, she said. Ridiculous, isn't it? Delete the number. I chuckled softly, the first time in days. David, listen, she went on. You were never the problem. You just weren't Chloe. That's your only crime. I leaned against the wall, swallowing a lump. It still hurts, Aunt, I said. I know, she replied, voice cracking. But when they need something, they'll come back. Don't forget this feeling. Never forget. Her words are a small flame, keeping me sharp. I returned to the papers, checking each screenshot, each message. Maggie and I finalized the cease and desist, demanding Chloe shut down the GoFundMe, return the money, and stop using my image. I don't want revenge. I want justice. I want them to see me, not as a victim, but as a man who no longer bows. I stand in front of the house, looking at the freshly painted walls, the straight fence. The breeze carries the scent of cut grass. I'm no longer my family's shadow. I'm David Harper, and I'm ready to face them. I walk into the Cedar Grove Town Hall, my heart beating steady, not fast, not slow, as if I've been preparing for this moment my whole life. Stage lights blaze, shining on large banners. Chloe Bennett, healing through yoga. I choose a seat in the back row, blending into the crowd of viewers, sponsors, and Chloe's social media followers. I didn't come to make a scene. I came to witness. Chloe stands on stage, stunning in an earthy toned dress, her blonde hair gleaming under the lights. She smiles, shakes hands with sponsors, talks about her healing mission, like she's a savior. If you didn't know the truth, you'd think she was untouchable. But I know, every mask can crack. The event starts with a video promoting Chloe's yoga studio. Images of her meditating in the mountains, leading classes by a lake, interspersed with thank yous to sponsors. The crowd claps politely. Then comes the live stream, where Chloe answers questions from online viewers. She smiles, voice sugary. Hello, beautiful souls. Thank you for being here. I know there's been some noise lately, but let's focus on positivity, right? My stomach twists when she mentions noise, her way of dismissing the fake GoFundMe, turning me into a joke. She starts answering a question about family values. I've always wanted to help my family, she says, eyes glistening like she's about to cry. Sometimes negativity comes from pain we don't understand. I almost admire her audacity. Almost. Then it happens. A young assistant, looking nervous, steps onto the stage, holding a thick envelope. Chloe pauses, her smile freezing. She takes the envelope, glances at it, then looks at the camera, eyes wavering. The crowd goes quiet, only the awkward loop of background music remaining. She mumbles something to the assistant, her voice unclear. Then suddenly, the large screen behind her flickers. A message appears, clear as day. Let David rot in that dump. The GoFundMe is just for PR. Cry for me, babe. Another message follows. He's the pity highlight. Keep the camera low. Show the cracks. The audience gasps. Phones raised to snap screenshots. The hashtag #ChloeExposed spreads like wildfire on social media. She's panicking. A comment pops up on the live stream. Chloe turns, sees the screen, and for the first time in my life, I see her mask not just crack, but shatter completely. She stammers, forcing a smile. Technical glitch, sorry everyone. But no one buys it. Hundreds of eyes lock onto her, no longer admiring, only judging. I sit still, calm as a winter lake, watching her flounder. Then a familiar figure steps onto the stage. Aunt Ruth, invited to praise Chloe's resilience, walks to the microphone with slow, deliberate steps. She doesn't look at Chloe, only straight at the crowd. I was asked to speak about hope, she begins, her voice echoing through the silent hall. About rebuilding trust, about family. She pauses, her gaze sharp. But for too long, this family has worn masks. They smile in public, but shun in private. They lift one child up, leaving the other to flounder in the dark. The audience stirs. Some set down their glasses. Others lean forward to listen. I'm done pretending. Aunt Ruth continues, her voice trembling slightly. Today, I stand for the truth. For David. She steps off the stage, walks straight through the crowd, and without hesitation, hugs me tightly. Cameras flash, lights flare, but I only feel her embrace. The first hug from family I've felt in decades. Chloe's high heels clack on the stone floor as she hurries out of the hall, her dress catching on a chair. I don't follow. Don't watch her go. I close my eyes for a second, letting the warmth of Aunt Ruth's hug sink in. The crowd buzzes. Some clap. Some stand awkwardly. Some just stare. I don't gloat. Don't smirk. I breathe. Silence, which held me captive for years, has finally spoken for me, and it's louder than Chloe's glamorous world. I leave the hall, Cedar Grove's streetlights casting light on my face. I don't feel victorious. Not exactly. But I feel relieved. As if an invisible door has opened. In my pocket, my phone buzzes constantly. Notifications, hashtags, messages. I don't check them. I just walk, cold wind blowing through, carrying the scent of grass and earth. I think of my house, with its newly painted walls, its replaced windows. It's not just a shelter. It's proof that I chose myself. And this time, I'm not alone. Aunt Ruth walks beside me, silent, just resting her hand on my shoulder. You did it, David, she says, her voice hoarse. I nod, not answering. But inside, I know she's right. Chloe can run, but she can't hide forever. The truth is out, and for the first time, I feel truly seen. Morning sunlight slips through the new window of the house, painting faint golden squares on the polished wood floor. I stand in the kitchen, holding a coffee mug, smelling fresh paint and cut grass from the yard. The $900 house, once a wreck, is starting to feel like a home. But more than that, it's proof I chose myself, and I don't regret it. After the town hall event, Chloe's glamorous world crumbled. Sponsors pulled out, calling her GoFundMe a scam. Social media still buzzes with Chloe exposed, clips of her toxic messages on the screen spreading everywhere. The Cedar Grove Council sent a formal letter, demanding an investigation into Chloe for using the community's name to deceive. They found documents she submitted, labeling me a homeless person needing aid. Though I own this house, it wasn't just family betrayal. It was fraud. I work with Maggie Coleman, the paralegal, to file a civil lawsuit against Chloe. Maggie, sharp and patient, helps me draft demands for compensation and a public apology. She's got nowhere to run, Maggie says at a coffee shop meeting. But it's about you, David. You're reclaiming the truth. I nod, saying little. I don't want revenge. I want justice. Want my family to see I'm not the shadow they can trample. Cedar Grove's community backs me in ways I never expected. Mrs. Grace Sullivan, the elderly neighbor, wrote an article in the local paper about my journey and Chloe's lies. David Harper is no victim, she wrote. He's a builder of not just a house, but a life. The article spread, and strangers started sending supportive messages. Tom Reynolds, the electrician neighbor, brought friends to help finish the roof. You're one of us, David, Tom says, clapping my shoulder. We don't let you fight alone. I turned the house into a small workshop, teaching basic repairs to kids in town. I show them how to use a hammer, measure wood, fix simple plumbing. Afternoons, their laughter fills the yard, mixing with the sound of hammers and saws. A boy, about 12, looks at me with bright eyes. I want to build a house like you. I smile, feeling my heart open. I'm not just rebuilding a house. I'm building a community, a purpose, a life I once thought I didn't deserve. My family tried contacting me, but not to apologize. A message from Mother, Eleanor, pops up on my phone. We should talk, David. Things have gone too far. Father George sends a short one. Be the bigger person. Bigger person. The phrase they always use to silence me, to make me carry every wound and smile. I don't reply. I'm not angry, not sad. I just don't need them anymore. This house, Cedar Grove, people like Grace, Tom, Aunt Ruth, they're my family now. Aunt Ruth called after the event, her voice full of pride. You did what I always wanted, she said. You stood up for yourself. I told her about the workshop, the kids, how I feel alive for the first time. That's your light, David, she said. Don't let anyone dim it. I nodded, though she couldn't see. A lump in my throat. Aunt Ruth, erased by the family like me, is the flame that keeps me going. I keep working with Maggie. The lawsuit progresses,
and Chloe faces pressure to return the $18,340 from the GoFundMe. Some townsfolk started a real fundraiser, not for Chloe, but from a workshop, to buy tools for the kids. I refused to take too much, but they insisted. "You deserve support," Mrs. Gray says, pressing a box of cookies and an envelope of cash into my hands. I take it, not because I need it, but because I understand. This is Cedar Grove's way of saying we see you. I stand in the workshop, looking at the tool racks I built, the walls I repainted. My phone buzzes, a new online article, updating the lawsuit. Cedar Grove man confronts charity fraud. The headline reads. I read, smiling faintly, not because Chloe's paying a price, but because I'm no longer an invisible shadow. Justice is coming, not loudly, but surely, like the way I drive each nail into this house. I step into the yard, sunlight hitting the flowers I planted. The sound of kids playing in the street carries a hope I thought I'd lost. I'm not looking for a seat at my family's table anymore. I built my own table, and this time I choose who anymore. I built my own table, and this time I choose who's invited. Morning sunlight pours through the window, shining on the polished wood floor of the house. I stand on the porch, holding a coffee mug, smelling fresh paint, mixed the scent of daisies I planted in the yard. This house, once a wreck with stained walls and a leaky roof, is now a home. More than a shelter, it's my foundation.
More than a shelter. It's my foundation, where I found myself again. A month has passed since the Cedar Grove Town Hall event, where Chloe's mask shattered under the stage lights. Sponsors abandoned her. Her reputation collapsed, and apologies never came. But strangely, it doesn't hit me like I once feared. Instead, I rebuilt my life, board by board, moment by moment, not just for the house, but for a life I once thought I didn't deserve. That day, Cedar Grove held a community cleanup. I set up a folding table in the yard, with lemonade and cookies. Mrs. Grace Sullivan's recipe. Kids ran around, drawing with colored chalk on the sidewalk in front of my house. You're stronger than you think, one message reads. Welcome home, says another. I stood there, watching the kids laugh, hearing Mrs. Grace and Tom Reynolds chat about the harvest season, and I smiled. No hesitation, no looking over my shoulder. For the first time, I felt I truly belonged. My phone buzzed in my pocket while I was wiping the table. A message from Chloe. Bro, things are really tough. Can I stay at your place for a bit? Just until I'm back on my feet. No apology, no acknowledgement. Just the expectation I'd open my door again. Sacrifice again. I stared at the screen, letting her audacity sink in. The person who called my house a dump now wants its shelter. I set the phone beside the lemonade pitcher. Not angry, not sad. I walked inside, my steps light. In the hallway, above the coat hook, I hung a small wooden frame. Inside is the old photo of me at 10, wearing a paper cape in a school play, a glittery crown on my head. In the background, Aunt Ruth claps, her smile radiant. Below the photo, I wrote by hand, "You always had a light." I touched the frame, a lump in my throat, not from pain, but gratitude. Aunt Ruth, the only one who saw me when my family turned away, gave me the strength to stand here today. I picked up the phone, typing the only right response. No room for lies here. Wish you well. I sent it, not thinking twice. Outside, the kids shouted, drawing a lopsided sun in bright yellow chalk. I stood on the porch, breathing cool air, feeling freedom, not the loud kind, but the quiet calm of someone who's found home. The house is no longer a burden, it's my foundation. I spent a lifetime chasing a seat at my family's table, scraping for crumbs of love, measured out, given only to those who bowed lowest. Now I see, I don't need their keys. I built my own door, and behind it is a life that's mine. The hardest walls I tore down weren't the houses, but the ones raised by those who should have loved me. When you stop knocking on locked doors and build your own, you don't just find freedom, you find yourself. What about you? Have you ever had to choose peace over family? Share your story. David Harper's story in my family kicked me out for buying a $900 junk house instead of funding my sister's retreat. But I reflects real issues in today's American society, especially family pressure, social media culture, and the journey to find personal identity. David, a 45-year-old man in Cedar Grove, Oregon, is disowned by his family for choosing to buy a $900 fixer-upper instead of funding his sister Chloe's lavish yoga studio. The favoritism of his parents Eleanor and George toward Chloe, along with her manipulative fake GoFundMe, mirrors realities in the US, where family ties can be driven by self-interest and public image. Chloe's live stream, mocking David's house for likes, reflects the toxic social media culture, where authenticity is sacrificed for virtual fame. David's journey, from isolation, fixing the house, to building a workshop for kids, shows the American spirit of self-reliance and the power of local community, like Cedar Grove, where people like Mrs. Grace Sullivan and Tom Reynolds help him overcome hardship. If you loved my story about finding myself again, subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the upcoming video.